More sitting MPs confident of returning. Former Morobe Governor Luther Wenge nominates. And Electoral Commissioner clears confusion in New Ireland.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Monday's news. Electoral Commissioner Patilius Gamato confirms that Ivan Lakatani is the gazetted provincial returning officer for New Ireland Province. This confirmation will now clear confusion among intending candidates vying for the governor's seat on who to nominate with.
Confusion came about when two different appointment lists for the provincial returning officer were sent to the province. The two different lists had two different names. One on March 30th, 2017 named Ivan Lakatani as the PRO, and another on April 3rd, 2017 named Glenson Liner as the PRO. All this comes amidst ongoing issues within the New Ireland provincial government, especially on restructures and their legality. In the confusion, three intending candidates have already nominated with Glenson Liner. Gamato said they must now nominate again with Ivan Lakatani before Thursday. This now leaves only three confirmed nominees for New Ireland Regional. The first to do so was sitting Governor Sir Julius Chen, who did so last Thursday when nominations opened. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News, KVN.
The intending candidates for Jiwaka regional seats are questioning the process involved in the appointment of the new provincial returning officer. Most of the intending candidates met this morning at Barnes, Jiwaka, to petition the Electoral Commissioner Patilius Gamato to quash the appointment. They also questioned the legality of changing the electoral office venue to pay the nomination fees.
An intending candidate for Jiwaka Regional, Benjamin Kala, who spoke on behalf of other candidates, told MTV News Today that they are not happy with the change of electoral office from Barnes to Kurumul, which is the new provincial headquarters. Kala said the candidates want to pay their nomination fees at the electoral office in Barnes for transparency reasons. He also said that they can't go to Kurumul and pay the nomination fee and questioned the legal implications.
This office has to be opened, and this office to be reinstated, and this office, the Electoral Commission office, has to be in Barnes.
Yes. Right.
Through this office, we want to produce the very, very best and a quality leader for Jiwaka.
Another issue raised was the legal implications candidates would risk to pay nomination fees to the new returning officer, Stephen Wusik, who is not gazetted yet. Jiwaka Provincial Deputy Administrator Joseph Amban urged the public servants to be mindful in running the office and the election. He said he was supposed to be the returning officer for this election as he was in the last election. The Electoral Commission confirmed that Wusik can still accept nomination fees while waiting to be gazetted. However, Hamban claimed the provincial administrator, Michael Wandil, is abusing his powers to appoint Wusik at the last hour.
So I asked them, what's the delay? And they said, one said the PRO is Stefan, and then I told both of them that I don't know when you got gazetted and appointed. I'm also a candidate for the PRO. Actually, I'm the substantive deputy administrator from Western Isles to Jiwaka, and I'm the pioneer public servant.
Meanwhile, the intending candidates for Jiwaka regional seat said they will not pay their nomination fees until the Electoral Commissioner fixed these two issues. Some of the intending candidates and their supporters went to pay their fees since last Friday at the electoral office in Barnes, but was unsuccessful. They have today till Thursday to pay their fees. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Jiwaka.
Western Highlands Governor Pius Wenge says he will focus on education and the economic growth of Western Highlands Province for the next 5 years. Looking back, he said Western Highlands Province is the first in the country to have 25 high schools. He said this during his endorsement at Day Council last Friday.
Pius Wenge says for the last 5 years, he had enjoyed his stay in Mount Hagen in building high schools to boost education in the province. He said Western Highlands will soon achieve 35 students in a classroom. Currently, schools like Hagen Park and Hagen Secondary have over 50 students in a classroom. Wenge said a new couple house that is soon to be completed will house the best lecturers who will teach at the Southern Cross University, which had recently affiliated with Hagen Park Secondary School. The couple house has cost the Western Highlands provincial government over 150 million kina. Wenge said after the completion, there will be enough money left to increase the learning capacity of the students. He said education will be first to none in the country. Late last year and early this year, EMTV News spoke with Hagen Park Secondary and Hagen Secondary School. The schools are facing shortage of learning materials and learning infrastructures such as science lab. However, Wenge said if he returns, education and health will be the thriving force in the province. Wenge's second policy is economic growth through farming and agriculture. He says he will focus on coffee, food processing, piggery and poultry to improve the living standard of the people of Western Highlands Province. Basenata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
This year's national general election is important for the autonomous region of Bougainville, and leaders elected to the 10th National Parliament will play an important role in preparing the region for the Bougainville referendum. Sitting MP for North Bougainville, Luther Wenge, says that the decision to choose lies on the voters. Fabian Hakalets reports from Buka.
Although the sitting MP will recontest this year's national general election, the issue of concern is Bougainville's referendum that must be realized. Mr. Atoy says focus for Bougainville leaders elected into the next national parliament is to set the referendum pathway.
So for me, it's about working closely with the ABG to ensure that the ABG's visions and our aspirations, our people's aspiration, in as far as independence.
Mr. Atoy says come 2019, leadership will have to give hope to the people of Bougainville, and he's confident in continuing to deliver services.
But it's really the people of Bougainville that needs to step up and determine their destiny. We need to go there and explore the world. We want independence. We can sit down here and wait for Papua New Guinea, because
he also paid tribute to Bougainville leaders whom, through their aspiration and determination, have brought Bougainville this far.
You know, it is not about the past and today, but it's about the future. And we as leaders of these times, we need to plan for that.
In Buka, Fabian Hakalits, National EMTV News.
11 candidates have so far nominated to contest the Goilala open seat. Returning officer Theodore Meyer said he is expecting more candidates before the close of nomination. Sitting Goilala MP William Sam and a lone female were among the candidates who nominated today.
Goilala district nominations were held at the central government office due to inaccessibility to Tapini station. 5 candidates were nominated today. Amongst them was a female candidate who looks to be the only woman candidate to run for the Goilala seat. Matilda Tagu Koma is an environmental scientist by profession. She studied at Leh University of Technology and received her postgraduate diploma from the University of Canterbury under chemical and process engineering. She also has worked with non-government environmental and human rights organizations and believes she can bring vital services to Goilala.
In terms of development and progress, due to mainly the lack of strong, dedicated and people-oriented political leadership.
She is running under Social Democratic Party that is led by current sitting governor for NCD, Powers Parkop. Matilda believes that her people have become accustomed with the free handout culture and will strongly advocate to the people of Goilala to rebuild Goilala themselves.
People or communities themselves take part in planning and deciding their own needs and requirements and destinations. They can important and lasting changes take place.
Returning Officer for Goilala, Theodore Mai, told MTV most candidates were required to fill in Form 11 due to their names not being on the common roll. Also, that most candidates were well educated and had some form of degree. Meanwhile, Election Manager for Central, Kila Igaba, said a total of 9 candidates have filled their nomination for the regional seat, and he is yet to get updates from his returning officers from the 4 districts.
Since for the assistant retail will accept nomination up to 4 o'clock tomorrow. After that, the returning officer going to accept. So whatever the nomination received for Kairuku and Mekio LOJ, the assistant should bring them by Wednesday morning.
Nominations are expected to end on Thursday. Adelaide Xerox Kari, National MTV News.
National MTV News continues with the day's other stories after the break. Welcome back to the news. The Western Provincial Government has been urged to fund youth empowerment programs designed by Oktedi Development Foundation for youths along the CMCA regions or mining villages. OTDF Program Manager Sustainable Service Eric Kuman said this will help to manage the youth development programs in the long run when the mine shuts down. Eric Harupa with this report.
OTDF Program Manager Sustainable Service Eric Kuman highlighted that the Oktedi Development Foundation has taken the lead in implementing livelihood programs in the CMCA regions or mine villages in Western Province. And by involving youth and women groups within the trust regions, they will be the source of funding to fund priorities in education, health and livelihood programs.
So hopefully we will get somewhere. But someone has to sustain this program, and I'm appealing to the provincial government to come on board and make sure that they take this one and also share the responsibility. And that's very important in these young men and women. They are rejected in many aspects in the community. We want to give them hope and live their full potential,
Kuman added that for sustainability of the youth programs, the Western Provincial Government has to intervene to fund these programs in the event the mine shuts down. He said OTDF is promoting livelihood programs like rice projects, eaglewood farming, rubber and food centers.
And we are expecting the parents, the communities, the provincial government, that trust that we have,
MTV crew as
and
well.
all the stakeholders to take part so that we implement this program for the betterment of these young men and women.
Meanwhile, the OTDF has pledged 1.5 million kina to the National Development Bank Women Credit Scheme in Middle and North Fly CMCA Trust regions.
We are basically looking at developing SMEs for these 3 regions. And these SMEs, we mainly focus on developing and also ensuring that sustainability plays a vital role in all these SMEs that we are doing.
Eric Arupma, National MTV News.
The Lae Metropolitan Command has formed a new unit to provide police visibility and more manpower during the election. The city is divided into zones and officers in the unit will be responsible for maintaining law and order at their designated zones. The new concept was initiated by the Lae Metropolitan Commander, Chief Superintendent Anthony Wagambi, following recent armed robberies that had happened.
These 18 officers have been selected from each of the sectors in the Lae Metropolitan Command to form the Sector Response Unit. They will start working during the elections and will continue after the elections. Wagambi says there needs to be police presence felt in the city's vicinity. They will also assist other police units.
To ensure that police presence is felt in the community. The public want to feel safe.
Wagambi warned his men to perform their duties well. He said the people want more police presence in the community. One sector patrol unit will be responsible to 2 suburban stations and will be working both day and night.
To my policemen, you have been handpicked amongst others. The challenge is upon you to perform. Public-looking police visibility public like feeling presence of police. We must down implant the heavy inside the community.
Divisional Commander for Northern Command, Peter Guinness, says 29 firearms have been issued to the Sector Response Unit. This is from the 87 firearms issued to the Divisional Command by the Police Commissioner.
Also, I have issued firearms to traffic unit and CID units, which they have not had any firearms for a very long time, and I decided that they should also be issued firearms because of the current situation that we have.
A similar concept will also be taken in the other provinces under Northern Command.
Madeng has a task force unit, Goroka Eastern Islands has a task force unit in Goroka, and we have also set up one in Kainan too. They will be basically be responsible in the national election, and after the national election we will maintain that unit.
Mata Louise, National EMTV News, Ley.
The Morobe provincial government made a payment of 300,000 kina to help fund freight cost for local coffee growers in rural areas of Morobe. The program aims to increase coffee production and accessibility to markets. Julie Badui Oa with this report.
The Coffee Industry Corporation implemented the coffee freight subsidy program in 2009 by freighting coffee from rural areas into the market. CIC aims to increase the program with the funding given.
Our rural farmers are constrained by the difficulty with transportation. And so on that note, we have taken it on board as part of our program to assist the farmers. And
in 2014, Morobe provincial government allocated 100,000 kina towards the program. CIC freighted the coffee out and converted the value to 1.2 million kina. The Chief Executive Officer for CIC, Charles Dambui, says the industry plans to help farmers increase the cost of their production.
The volume of coffee that we're freighting out, we are looking at the cost of the freight. Normally it costs around 2.50 per kilogram. Yes, 2.50 and 3 kina along that right. So we either subsidize 60% or we 100%, depending on the distance of the where the coffee will be coming out to the market.
Morobe province is ranked third in coffee production and is a major contributor to PNG's total coffee exports. With the province's difficult geographical settings, the program will assist to facilitate coffee freighting accessed by air and sea. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Ley.
And now to other election news. Luther Wenge, the man who stopped the deployment of Australian Federal Police to Papua New Guinea, has put his hand up to be governor again. Wenge nominated today in Ley in front of a crowd of supporters. He said Morobe's political leadership had become weak.
Luther Wenge was carried to the nomination centre by his supporters, even after losing the last election during the second preference counts. Wenge still believes he commands a lot of support from inland areas of Morobe. Wenge had a colourful political career. He challenged the national government on issues including taxes, Morobe's financial autonomy and regional issues. Sometimes he took matters to the National and Supreme Court for legal clarification.
When I stood in 2012, I had the base board or primary votes of 55,000, just close to 56,000. Kerinaru got 52,000.
In his last term, he challenged the deployment of Australian police officers under the Enhanced Cooperation Program. The court declared the program illegal and it ended prematurely. But his focus on national issues also drew criticism from many opponents who said he spent too much of Morobe's money on fighting national issues. Soon after Wenge's nomination, Sir Bob Sinclair, owner of the Ley International Hotel and Ley Builders, registered his nomination. Sir Bob is among others contesting against sitting MP Lujaya Koza.
And I feel that I can do a lot. The country's done huge things for me. I want to do huge things back for not only Lake City, the country.
Sir Bob's long list of non-political achievements include the construction of the Goroka Hospital, the Markham Bridge and the University of Technology in Ley. Other Ley Open candidates who are expected to contest include the former IRC Commissioner Sir Nagora Bogan. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Lae.
And now looking at our finance news, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.3145 in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.3070 $0.4038 Australian dollars, $0.2796 euro, and 33.47 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, cocoa closed higher while gold, coffee, and copper closed the day lower. Palm oil and crude oil closed the day higher, while copper closed the day unchanged. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 30.95 points lower, the ASX closed at 12.66 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 11.25 points higher. When we come back, the arrival of Australian Governor General Sir Peter Cosgrove to mark Anzac Day. Stay with us. Welcome back. Australian Governor-General Sir Peter Cosgrove arrived in Port Moresby midday today for an official 3-day state visit to PNG. His Excellency Sir Peter Cosgrove arrived a day ahead of Anzac Day celebrations.
The Royal Australian Air Force aircraft on which he arrived landed at Jackson's International Airport at 10:55 a.m. today. His Excellency Sir Peter Cosgrove, in the company of his wife Lady Lynn Cosgrove, stepped off the aircraft to a 21-gun salute by the PNG Defence Force, followed by the traditional Guard of Honour inspection. He was greeted by Chief Protocol Officer Maria Veratau, Minister for APAC Sports and Special Events Justin Tachenko, Australian High Commissioner to PNG Bruce Davis, Chief Secretary Isaac Lapari, and Foreign Affairs Secretary William Dim. The Australian Governor-General was later escorted to the Government House to greet PNG's Governor-General Bob Dadai in a private meeting. Sir Peter Cosgrove, also known for his role as former Chief of the Australian Defence, is in the country for Anzac Day celebrations. His Excellency Sir Peter Cosgrove will of course be visiting war memorial sites as far as Isarava in the Oro province. Ceremonies will begin tomorrow to commemorate Anzac Day at the Bumana War Cemetery at dawn. Melissa Gaviro, National MTV News.
A fallen Australian war hero was honoured today in Port Moresby by Australia's Governor-General Sir Peter Cosgrove. The fallen hero is John Jackson, 493 Squadron Leader of the Royal Australian Air Force. He was killed on 28 April 1942 at the age of 34. The Old Jackson's Airport in Port Moresby was named after this fallen hero. Present to receive the medal set from the Governor-General were Jackson's son Arthur, 76, and daughter Patricia, 78.
Air Force Squadron, these beloved descendants, and the man whose grave sadly lies behind us. Please accept from the RSL here, from 75 Squadron and from Australia, from the hands of the Governor-General, John Jackson's medals.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I feel so proud.
In Australia, the wartime links are taking place to honour Anzac partners. A new memorial has been unveiled in Australia that recognises the service of a New Zealand hospital ship from World War II which washed up on an island off the Queensland coast.
The sun rising over what remains of the TSS Mahino, a tourist attraction on Australia's Fraser Island, steeped in New Zealand history.
Is one of those stories that is just not as well known as it deserves to be.
This rusted wreck was once a New Zealand liner, which was converted to a hospital ship for World War I. In the 1930s, a cyclone forced it ashore to this remote beach, where it's sat ever since. And over the weekend, several hundred gathered as a memorial was unveiled to tell its story.
The hospital ship is the true concept of mateship, of being there to look out for your friends, for your colleagues, and to help those around you.
While it makes for a pretty picture now, the Mahino has seen horrors. Its first voyage as a hospital ship was to Gallipoli to support the Anzacs. Sarah Johnson's great-grandfather was the first officer.
Yeah, very, very special, and it's nice to actually be able to come to an event like this but then take photos and send all the information back to other family members, and they feel like they have a connection as well that way.
New Zealanders are special presence among the guests, from the High Commissioner to students from the tiny school in the small South Island town that the ship was named for.
We've adopted a school haka that sort of represents the dragging of a waka up on resting place on a beach, and it sort of symbolises the Mahino ship and our links to that.
The school has just 53 pupils who have been forging a special connection with Fraser Island.
It's really cool how because it's kind of like they've joined the countries, because there's the link between them. The other day I was being told how amazing it is. We're kind of making history, and when I thought about it, it's quite amazing.
Even the memorial has been crafted in the Anzac spirit. The plaque was made by an Australian. The stone it sits on, drawn from a quarry near Mahino.
The memorial will also be a lasting reminder of the Mahino. The wreck itself is being slowly reclaimed by the elements.
Nature may one day have her way, but now, at least, the Mahino's story will be told for many more generations to come.
The people of France have rejected candidates from the main political party in the first round of the presidential election. Amid heightened security and a state of emergency, the people of France have voted far-right leaders. It will be a contest closely watched by the world in relation to France's place in the EU.
One presidential election, two rival visions for France. Fresh-faced Emmanuel Macron tops poll projections, promising fairer government, neither right nor left-wing. A pro-EU centrist confident of success.
Le président de tout le peuple de France.
I want to become the president of all the people of France, the president of the patriots, in the face of the threat from the nationalists. A president able to protect, to transform, and to build.
Emmanuel Macron now goes through to the second and final round of France's vote for president. Against far-right Marine Le Pen, anti-immigration, anti-globalization and anti-EU. Her presidential plan? France for the French.
The time has come to get rid of all the arrogant people who wanted to dictate to the population what they should do. I am the candidate for the people.
There were clashes this evening in Paris between police and voters frustrated with the projected election result. This has become known as the most stressful election in modern-day France. Up and down the country, in bars and living rooms, people were glued to their screens as soon as polls closed. Left-wing candidates crushed. Their supporters were bitterly disappointed. Monsieur Macron and Madame Le Pen are now on the charm offensive in the lead-up to the final presidential vote. Their political visions may be clear, but their parties have never been in government. Whichever candidate France chooses, it will be a jump into the unknown.
Latest polls show Donald Trump's ratings are the lowest of the last 13 U.S. presidents. Despite that, 98% of people who voted for him say that they'll do it again. Here's a look at what Americans think of their president in his 100 days in office.
Donald Trump may be the least popular president since the Great Depression at this early stage.
Doing a good job for the workers.
But if the election were held today, he would win the popular vote. That's the conflicting message of this new poll. And it's a reflection of two things. First, the president's core group of supporters stands by him. Second, the Democrats have a popularity problem too. 2 out of 3 Americans say the party is out of touch. More than half of Americans say Trump is a strong leader. He gets especially high marks for pressuring American companies to keep jobs here in the U.S.
We're going to defend our workers, protect our jobs, and finally put America first.
3 out of 4 voters, including many liberals, approve. But 61% disapprove of the high-profile jobs he's given his daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared Kushner. And 45% say Trump is off to a poor start.
In the grand scheme of things, you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
This coming week, some major challenges. The threat of a government shutdown midnight Friday. The budget battle may hinge on Trump's border wall. Democrats say they'll refuse to pay for it. Today, Trump insisted the wall is in the budget just so we can get started early, insisting Mexico will be paying in some form.
True Guys Sports is up next. Don't go away.
True Guys Sports.
Welcome to True Guys Sports. The SPPNG Hunters returned from their Round 8 clash against the Burleigh Bears today. The Hunters came off an impressive 42-6 victory over the Bears yesterday at Pizzey Park.
4 tries from Adex Wera and a try apiece from Wartovo Porter Jr., Harokono Jr. and David Loko saw the Hunters win back the Kokuda Cup.
It was good team effort. I think everyone contributed to the game. So now, again, we haven't played good footy for a while, so it's really good to see the boys played well all throughout the match against a quality side in Burleigh Bears, who are the premiers from last year. So yeah, no, it's really good.
Coach Michael Marum was impressed with the team's overall performance, saying their defensive efforts were outstanding, having conceded 1 try from the Bears.
Our defense is just outstanding. I think we dominated the whole game. We only dropped 1 or 2 balls there. So again, it's really hard for them to attack because we had all the football there.
After yesterday's match, minor injuries to a few players may see them miss this weekend's clash.
Minor injuries. Wartovo pulled out 10 minutes before the game ended with a minor ankle, and also there's a few injured players, just all minor. Yeah, so we train tomorrow. We got another recovery session this afternoon. So hopefully, everyone should pull through and complete the next game, which is against Pride on Saturday. Yeah.
The team brought back the Kokoda Cup after a year with the Bears. Ase Boas was named the NZAC player for the Hunters, while fellow Kumu Luke Page was named the NZAC player for the Bears. Adex Wera has been picking up form and has been outstanding for the Hunters in their last 2 matches. Though scoring 4 tries yesterday, he was cited by the QRL for dangerous contact.
Seeing the video, I think didn't look good, so hopefully by tomorrow we should have a report from the history from QRL, so hopefully it doesn't get suspended, but no, that's just something we have to wait and see what's going to happen here.
Elijah Levitt, National EMTV Sports.
To golf, only 1 more day remains until the tee-off to this year's Morobe Open. With just over 270,000 kina up for grabs, the tournament is one of the most lucrative prizes in PNG sports.
The first day of play will feature the Pro-Am, where corporate sponsors and amateurs are able to mix and mingle with the tour and professionals. Running from the 27th to the 30th of April, the Morobe Open is easily one of the biggest sporting events in Papua New Guinea. It will feature almost 60 golfers, each hoping to get a hand on $110,000 prize money. Last year's winner, Damian Jordan, is also coming back to defend his title. In 2016, a final hole disaster couldn't prevent Damian Jordan from an emphatic wire-to-wire victory. He withheld the early challenges over the opening 9, holding a 4-shot lead heading into the 18th hole. A double bogey wasn't the ideal way to seal the win, though his final round of 70 would be good enough for a 17 under the card total and a 2-shot victory over Simon Houston. In 2015, Daniel Nisbet fought through a 3-hole playoff to claim the Open, and this year, along with a host of frontrunners in the current 2017 season, will be a favorite. Conditions at the Lake Golf Course have been described as some of the most difficult throughout the Sunshine PGA Tour. Under hot and humid conditions with the Huon Mountains as a backdrop, there have been almost no back-to-back winners of the Morobe Open to date. Jeremy Moggy, National TV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. It's on again for the CPL PNG Lowers. A 14-woman squad has been named for the ICC Women's World T20 East Asia Pacific qualifier due in 4 days' time in Japan. Currently ranked top in the region, the Lowers will be defending their title once again against host Japan, Samoa and Vanuatu. Leading the team again will be Pauke Siaka, and there are two new inclusions, Gewa Tom and Natasha Ambo, who will represent PNG for the first time. Last year's participation in the World Cup qualifiers in Colombo did not go well for the Lowers, so for this year they will vie once again for an ICC Women's World T20 qualifier spot. The PNG side's first match will be against Vanuatu this Friday, and live match statuses will be available on the Cricket ICC website. To AFL, the South Pacific Under-16 team conduct final training today at the Colts Oval in preparation for the Queensland State Championships to be held in Brisbane this week. The Pacific team consists of 25 players who will represent the region.
Training under the watchful eyes of the PNG AFL Development Welfare Officer William Yogomin, a total of 14 players did their final training at the Colts Oval while making time to create a camaraderie amongst themselves. While most of the boys are Port Moresby-based, players from Hagen, Lae and Kavieng were also present to get hold of the last and final training opportunity in preparations for the Under-16 Queensland State Championships. The South Pacific team will see 25 representatives in total, 14 boys from PNG, 3 boys from Fiji, 2 from Solomon Island, 4 from Nauru and 1 from Tonga.
The boys from Moresby have been training since beginning of this year with the other centres who were training in their respective areas. Now we've all came in together, so this becomes our last day of training before we travel tomorrow.
Yogomin said some of the boys taking part in the week-long tournament are expected to witness a very different set of competition, as this will be their first time playing overseas. Yogomin said the next group of youngsters to participate in their international meets will be the Under-13 and will be counting on sponsorship as their biggest contributor to the success of the event. The PNG side of 14 players and coach William Yogomin will be departing for Brisbane tomorrow morning before the Pacific team takes on the North Queensland side in their first game on Wednesday.
South Pacific!
Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather details after the break.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow: in the southern region, cloudy with afternoon to evening showers and thunderstorms in Port Moresby, overcast with showers and thunderstorms in Daru, cloudy with afternoon to evening showers in Kerema, fine although cloudy at times in Alutau, and partly cloudy with afternoon to evening showers and thunderstorms in Popondetta. In the Momase region, partly cloudy afternoon to evening rain in Lae, partly cloudy with afternoon to evening shower or two in Medang, fine although cloudy at times in Wewak, and partly cloudy with afternoon to evening thundery showers in Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, a shower or two clearing, then fine in Lorengau, fine although cloudy at times in Kokopo, Kavieng and Rabaul, and a shower or two then fine in Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, partly cloudy with a chance of afternoon to evening showers, then morning fog developing in all centres. Forecast for small ships for tonight and tomorrow. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru, seas of 2 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Kiwai Island to Kerma, to Yule Island to Hood Point, to Samarai Island with waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel, to Finschhafen with waters of Medang to Bogia, to Wewak to Aitape, to Vanimo to northern PNG Indonesian border with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and with waters of New Ireland to East and West New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitia Strait, Dampier Strait including Siasi Islands to Long Island, seas of 1 to 1.3 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas in the Coral Sea. Seas rather rough to rough with southeast winds at 25 to 34 knots. In the Solomon Sea, sea slight northeast to easterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, sea slight with northeast to southeast, tending southwest winds at 10 to 15 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, sea slight with southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots.
Proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. With doing with Dulux.
Now recapping our main stories for tonight. More sitting MPs confident of returning. Former Morobe Governor Luther Wenge nominates, and Electoral Commissioner clears confusion in New Ireland. And that's been the news, sports and weather for tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Helen Seah. Pleasant viewing. Good night.